I'm gonna go right yes.
Hi everyone. Just about to lunch, so yeah, I'm just gonna say a few things first though. The first thing that I'm gonna say is like thank you so much for coming to all of you. It just means so much to see you guys all just kind of standing in this room and to imagine all the other rooms where people are watching this Visual Rights Festival. Yeah, so I'm going to just say what Betanarratives is, in case you guys don't know. We're a publishing organisation, and we're interested in digital storytelling and how digital storytelling actually opens up, new ways that we can collaborate together across disciplines. So I guess that plays out on our team by the fact that I'm kind of an editor, a writer, but then you have people, who are filmmakers, animators, programmers, visual artists, game designers, a lot basically, and we all kind of work together, leading each other along. So the very first piece we're launching is called Sticky, as you can see. It's a non-fiction investigation into tattoos, and we think about how tattoos are permanent marks in an age of complete impermanence, which is interesting because of how we're online, and we think that means we're ephemeral, I guess. And we also think that tattoos can represent the desire to control and control. It's also a character portrait of two huge tattoo personalities in Melbourne, John Kenny and also Bev Robinson, also known by the stage name Cindy Ray. So Bev is like a world-famous tattoo model who was Australia's first ever female tattoo artist, and John is a heavily tattooed man who is just dying for immortality. Yeah, so then as part of promoting Skinzy, we ran a campaign called Tweet 2, where Brendan, who's over there, and who wrote the piece, he agreed to be tattooed according to tweets submitted via our Twitter feed. So we got some really great submissions, and the only parameters around that were that it had to be a literary quote. And we got Possum Magic, and on the bottom, 6 thinking hats, and to view up to be, which would be super funny. And sorry, no offense to whoever they're watching over here. We also got To Kill a Mockingbird, like the dead mockingbird from it, which is really interesting. But the one that came up that really struck us was a stunned mullet from the John Paul's poem of the same name, and because Brenda really likes John Paul, so we kind of jumped at that. So yeah, I'm just announcing that Tom O'Connell, if you're here or watching, you want that, and that's the stunned mullet over there. Yeah, so just before I launch the piece, I just want to say thanks to a few people. So first of all, just a massive thanks to the team who composed of about 8 of us, who've been super patient and super good at this, and super selfless as well. And also thank you to Express Media, Signal Arts, and Copyright Agency for just giving us the funds to make this not just a figment of our imaginations, but a real life thing that we're about to see. And also thanks to Lips of Brad for all the support. So I'm just going to invite Brendan up to the front now to do a reading, and Brad to navigate the piece of the
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. You all look fantastic. Really fantastic. It's good. Before we start, I just need to say one more round of applause for Jess right here. Well done. When we told me about this poetry class, I was blown away by this thinking outside the square that you've done. I thought it was fantastic. And you've just been really amazing to work with throughout this whole thing, so thanks for that. work. Before we start reading through, I just want to a bit of a caveat. It's actually really difficult to read and scroll at the same time through this thing. So if it sort of jumps ahead or something like that, we apologise in advance, but hopefully you get a sense of it.
Every time a tattoo is sent or punched in the skin, it creates a wound. Deposited into that wound, about a millimetre into the dermis, is a drop of ink. Almost immediately, white blood cells flood in as the healing process begins, but the ink molecules are too large to be carried away to the lymph nodes removed from the body, and so remain suspended beneath the skin. A tattoo cannot be shed.
Skin deep. John meets me at the front gates of Melbourne University. Students walk past, glancing back at him, not scared exactly, just surprised. Tattoos that completely cover his face are more vibrant than the dull green I was expecting. John? I asked, pretending not to be sure that it's him. I shake his hand, also completely covered in tattoos. As I thank him for agreeing to speak to me, I notice the whites of his eyes are stained red. I knock on the door of Bev's Williamstown home and a dog barks. Sounds like a big one. Bev opens the door and gestures for me to come in. A fat German shepherd has its jaws around her wrist. Bev Robertson is famous for being one of the first women in Australia to cover the majority of their skin on her limbs and torso in tattoos. In the 1960s, she became known by the stage name Cindy Ray, the lady who put the ooh in tattoo, and travelled around the country, meeting or being displayed to scores of body art enthusiasts. Following her career as a tattoo model, she became one of Australia's first female professional tattooists. My tattooist friend tells me she's world famous, one of only 6 people inducted into American tattoo historian Lyle Tuttle's Tattoo Hall of Fame, and a legend in the industry. Get down, Honda, she shakes the dog off, smiles. Friendliest German shepherd you'll ever meet. The dog licks my hand until I believe her. We walk upstairs, and I notice that her tattoos are invisible under her sweater and jeans.
Got no folks, hardly did no work before my whole life, most of it drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff.
It becomes obvious that his bluntness isn't hostile, just indicative of a preference for fact over feeling. He got his first tattoo because he just did. I asked him which one it was, and he shows me a picture of an American Indian woman on his arm. His reason for the image? Simply that it fitted into the right spot at the right time. I figure out pretty quickly that these tattoos, which cover 95% of John's skin, aren't going to tell me the story, or at least not the story I came looking for. After seeing a few photos of John on the internet, I come to him expecting to be told a narrative of obsession, or at least addiction, or, at the very least, that his body art symbolically mirrored aspects of his life. But ironically, John's discussion of his tattoos makes them seem transitory, just decisions made in the moment as opposed to actions that would change the course of his life. Bev became a single mother at 19. She struggled to find a steady income that could support her and her young son. Looking for any work she could get, she responded to an advertisement in the paper looking for a photographic model. Any respondent had to be willing to have their eyebrows shaved. Events quickly spiraled. Somehow it ended up I got talked into getting these tattoos so I'd make all this money, which I didn't make, going on shows as a tattooed lady, she tells me. Arsehole, I said. She agrees. Skin still raw from her first tattooing. Bev went home to her parents and got her headline up. John never minded the pain. She describes as a burning, charred feeling. I look at his arms. The picture is human, bruised, bloody pink. Having them tattooed didn't hurt either, apparently. He points at his arms. They put the needle in. There's a certain way you've got to do it. You go too deep, you get knocked out. You go too shallow, it just won't take. It's mixing colour amongst the fluid. His tattooed tongue makes his saliva look like blue dye. Briefly, imagine all of John's insides dyed blue, tattooed inside and out. Bev shows me the bands of roses around her wrists, her first tattoos. I asked her if she had any say in how her skin would permanently change. She didn't. The folks who convinced Bev to be part of their plan wanted to get her tattooed and in the public eye as fast as possible. The scandal of being covered in tattoos was more important than the tattoos themselves. Do you regret it? I asked. Yeah, well, probably today I wouldn't have done the same thing, but anyway, you know, it's just what happens. John tells me he spent 4 years with his favourite tattoos. When you find a good one, you want to stick. She likes him because of his skin, and even tells me he's one of the rare ones because how well colour takes to him. It was only 6 years ago that he decided to block in his tattoos, to recolour the old and fill the gaps with new ink. This means the ink won't bleed and the images won't be in danger of fading. His tattoo started from the feet, covering all of the hearts with names on them as she travelled upwards. The removal hurt more than getting them in the first place. You never get anyone's names done. You end up with different names everywhere. I asked Bev how she started out as a tattoo artist, told her she immediately rejects preferring a tattooist. She tells me that her ex-husband, who was a tattooist, got into a fight one night and broke his hand. In order to keep the shop open and money coming in, Bev had to take up the needle.
Big mistake, exactly.
When I asked her what it was like to marry within the world of tattoo culture, she goes, "You marry a tattooist?" Exactly.
Exactly.
Before I can ask how much his tattoos cost, John warns me off them. It annoys me, he says at the question. Because, you know, I can't put a price on it. I just enjoyed it and loved it. He approximates rather wildly that 4 or 5 houses worth of ink is embedded just under the surface of about 25% of his skin. Now this seems unlikely. Nevertheless, there's still a lot of money to spend decorating the skin he doesn't intend to keep. None of this is going to be taken with me. When I go, it's all getting left behind. He tells me that he has written in his will that he wants to donate his skin to Canberra's Belfast Arts.
Look at some of the famous painters, they didn't take it with them.
I think about a tattooed husk hung on a hook in a glass case, being peered at by children in farms so as to never lose its colour. John figures it makes sense because the same art centre has a 30,000-year-old section of tattooed skin on display. At first his fantasy is in some way funny, and then as he keeps on, it isn't at all. I don't ask whether or not the centre is expecting his donation. He seems certain it'll happen. Because I'm the only one like this in the world. You ain't never seen no one like me again. The only money Bev ever made from her fame came from getting paid by the letter to respond to the fan mail that was addressed to Cindy Ray. Most of her fans overseas still know her as Cindy, but sitting with her in the kitchen, dishes in the sink, as she coughs an aging woman's cough into her hand, Doesn't seem like Cindy at all. It's as if Bev Robinson and Cindy Ray are two different people sharing the same tattooed skin. She tells me she's bloody sick of interviews. After declining last year to speak to a writer who was penning a book about tattoo culture in Australia, the same writer in a live talk called Cindy Ray and the Science Show.
And I thought, I love you, but I don't care.
I believe it. On hot days, she will sometimes venture down to the local supermarket with her arms uncovered. You'll never catch her shopping in a skirt. Hunting for a soundbite, I asked Johnny to tell me in a sentence why he decided to cover his whole body in tattoos. I guess I just got sick of being white. I wanted to be different from everyone else. Started my own tribe of coloured people. Decided to spend the last half of my life being coloured rather than being white. I tell Bev that I tried to look her up on Facebook but couldn't find her. Turns out she avoids social media completely. So I don't have to bloody look at myself. All these people leaving messages. I don't have to deal with it because I don't have to. I laugh and I say I know what she means. I'm lying.
I'll be going when I have Alzheimer's.
Says Cameron.
I thank them both. Walked John's at the front gate, my clean-skinned university affiliates door. Walked down a bed of stairs like the German Shepherd with my hand all over. Careful to block the doorway with my legs so he can't get out. I leave them both. Minutes later, it's already difficult for me to remember exactly what their tattoos look like. I'm reminded of how Bev, when I asked how she felt about being famous, responded with a snort of laughter and said, I don't think of myself as famous. I'm just me. I think too, how desperately John wants to be remembered. I've read it here that he's still hanging on a hook in the gallery. 2 empty holes where his red eyes used to be.
Look, I hope you like the piece, and just stick around and eat, and we're going to go out to the drinks in a second. So that was invited then. So you're all invited if you want to come. Okay.
Mingle again.